Welcome to another exciting episode on DNA Hardwired, common sense turned upside down. My name is Pop, and with me is my co-host, Jackie.
What's going on, everybody?
All right. The last couple of weeks, we have been discussing parenting. We still have more to discuss on parenting, but this week we're gonna switch up a little bit because we had been promising that we're going to cover homelessness, or as my daughter liked to call it, the unhoused. So we decided to take a little break from parenting for a quick minute, and we're going to talk a little bit about. We're going to discuss homelessness or the unhoused. So we also have a special guest with us. Her name is Diann. She was homeless at one time. So what we'll do is we're going to go. There's some foundational things that we want to talk about on homelessness, but I think we're going to go ahead and just start with Diann first, and then we'll cover some of the other stuff concerning homelessness after we get done talking to Diann. And basically, the way this will work is we've got some questions that we've already listed, and we're going to ask Diann some of these questions about her experience being homeless, and we can vary from that a little bit, but basically that's how we're going to go with it. Anything you want to add, Jackie?
Nothing right now. Hey, just appreciate you guys tuning in again.
Okay.
Listening to us be non-professional. Non-professional.
Yeah. Again, Jackie's hitting on a note there. We just want to remind folks that the information that we're providing is just that. It's information. We're not PhDs, MDs, or anything else, or we're not professional counselors. We may have a little bit of experience, in our backgrounds for us counseling in different areas, but this presentation is mainly for informational and educational purposes. Okay, then, so we'll go ahead and get started then. We'll go ahead and start, Miss Diann. So hey, Diann, is there anything?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, girl. Hey, is there anything that you might initially want to share? We've got some questions that were asked, but I just want to make sure that if there's anything initially that you want to share with us, you can go ahead and do that now.
Well, not right now.
Okay.
I'd like to share this, that homeless is not something that a person really shouldn't be ashamed of, because that's part of life. And it's not a thing that you can't get out of, because you can.
Okay.
And homeless is something that not to be looked down, but to be looked at.
Good point. Okay, then, great.
Good point right there.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just start with a few questions, Diann. First question here is.
Before you ask your first question, I want to say something.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Just so you know, I'm sitting here from the standpoint of listening to learn and understand, not to combat, push back anything. My position is I want to hear, and I think a lot of people may want to hear your side of it, because we don't know. A lot of times we don't know what your side looks like. We only see it from our lens.
Another good point. Another very, very good point. Yeah, we're not here to judge. Again, we just want to, some of us, many of us, we haven't had that experience, but we would like to, just have someone like you share your personal experience. So the first question I'm going to ask Diann is this is a silly question, but it's for those people who may think they are actually, may think that there are actually people who might consider this as a path in life. In other words, I believe there's some people out there that really think there are people that are homeless and they want to be, and that's something they set out to do. So this is the question. Did you ever imagine that you would end up homeless?
No, I had never imagined. No, no,
Okay.
no, but it happened. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and I just wanted to hear you say that because sometimes people make these assumptions like people who are homeless is something that they want. It's almost like they plan for it or something. So okay, so
No, you could never plan being home. Home is something that can't be planned for. It just had to happen.
right, good point, good point. How old were you when you first became homeless, Diann? Also, let me
Oh,
say this. Hold a minute. Let me just say this to Diann. I didn't say this. If there's any question that Jackie or myself might ask you, if you don't want to answer, just say, "Hey, look, I don't feel comfortable answering that question." Okay, Diann?
all right.
All right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So, how old were you when you became homeless?
I was about in my early 20s. I would say like 22 or 23.
Okay. All right. How long were you homeless? How old were you when you were?
3 years.
How long?
3 years.
3 years?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, what type of a homeless person were you? In other words, where did you live primarily? Because there's different types of people who live in different types of situations that's homeless. For example, some people live on the street. Some people live in emergency shelters. Some live in motels, cars, tents, park, or some live in a combination of those things. Sometimes folks, what they call couch surf or whatever. What type of a homeless person would you say, for the most part, were you?
I was really, really homeless. I slept wherever I can lay my head at. Sometimes I go on the bridge. Sometimes I might just sleep where I see a lot of other people sleeping at near bus, to bus stops and stuff. Wherever I can lay my head, that's where I slept at. Mainly on the bridges.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
I'm here. I'm still here, Diane. You still there?
Yeah, we're still.
And mainly I slept at a old train station that had closed down where a lot of us slept at.
Okay, and that
Yeah.
and that kind of leads to another question, which is, and it sounds like you're answering that. So, there are some people who are homeless and they kind of live in homeless communities, and then there are some people who are homeless and they live by themselves. So it sounds like you kind of maybe lived with some other folks at times. Is that kind of how you did it?
No, I slept outside. I
Okay,
slept where there were other homeless people would sleep at.
I got you. Okay, okay. Well, what do you think was what do you believe probably was the main contributing factor or factors that caused you to become homeless? What do you think kind of initiated that?
Well,
And again, just keep in mind, if it's something that's uncomfortable, you don't feel like answering, you don't have an answer. I mean, we can go with that. But whatever
will you repeat that question again?
Okay, then. So you at 22, 23 years old, you found yourself homeless. What do you think caused that?
Not taking life seriously.
Not taking life seriously?
Sometimes yes. When you
me,
don't take life serious, things come at you unexpectedly.
Let me ask you a question as a piggyback to that one. What does that mean? Treat me this as a third grade level question. What does that mean, not taking life seriously? What does that mean day to day?
Well, day to day, it's like this. When you don't take life serious, things come at you unexpectedly. When you think it's going to be there, when you think it's going to happen, it don't. If you don't take it seriously.
Um,
And so I
would you
go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry,
Go
Jackie.
ahead,
Go ahead.
Pop.
Go ahead,
No,
Jackie.
go ahead.
Yeah. What I was going to say is that sometimes, and especially when you're young, because you said that, you were like 22, 23 years old. I think that happens more than people realize when folks are young. Like you just said, Diann, sometimes we don't plan. We just think things are going to come our way because we've got our youth and, things have always came our way. So why would they stop coming our way now? And at some point, some of us get to the place where, things just happen, like you said, and we may find ourselves in a homeless situation. So it's, I'm gonna guess and assume that most, again, and we've already talked about this, most people don't plan on becoming homeless. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that, that causes people to become homeless. We'll talk about that later. But okay, then. So things just kind of happen. Okay. Um, well,
Can we throw unforeseen events in there also, with not taking life seriously? Unforeseen events, financial letdown, meaning layoffs, things of that nature. Did you throw that in there?
Diann, you there?
Yes. Yes, you're right. But look at it like this. That's just like we always thought our parents would live forever. And then all of a sudden you lose a loved one and it hurt us. It's just like being homeless. We always thought things gonna be this way, be that way, then it turned around to be another one.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
So we had to just take it as it comes. Not take things too serious. Not say it won't happen to you, because that's when it will happen to you.
Good point. Good point. Plan for the unexpected. And that point that you had just mentioned about parents, Diann, or even a spouse or someone like that, someone who you may be depending on, if something happens to them, it could be something as simple as, like Jackie mentioned a little earlier, they could lose their job. So there's a financial issue. They can get sick, which may cause them to lose their job. They can't work, or they may die. They may pass. And that's someone that you depended on, and you didn't anticipate them coming to that end, at least that soon. You didn't. And when you're young like that, I can kind of see how that could really have a serious impact. Okay. Question: how did you cope with the different weather conditions? You were outside. You were staying outside. How did you, because the area that you live in, there's a winter. It's like 4 seasons. I mean, I live in Arizona. We got 2 seasons. We got a warm season, and then we got a hot season. Those are our 2 seasons.
Hey, Pop, I said Phoenix has 2 temperatures, hot and hell.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So in most cases, staying outside. I mean, not that I'd recommend it for anybody, but the weather could be a little bit more nicer to you, But for Diann, you live in a area where there's 4 different seasons. So, like for example, when it's winter and it's cold, there's snow or rain, or it's even hot. It gets hot there too. So how did you deal with the weather conditions?
I deal with it as it comes. If I know it's gonna be rain, I prepare myself ahead of time. If it's gonna be cold, I make sure I have lots of clothes and plenty of blankets and everything.
Okay.
So it's not something you can plan. It's something that you just have to go with the flow on.
Okay.
So you have to keep a bunch of blankets around, because if you're not, so if I'm following correctly, if you're not tied into some sort of media outlet, news, cell phones, that sort of thing. I know this is years ago, probably before cell phones. So you would have to keep blankets, extra clothing, extra like
Yes.
rain gear, that sort of thing. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. And so, we commonly see, when we do see homeless people a lot of time on the street, we may see them with a shopping cart or something else, and they appear to be carrying all of their worldly goods with them. Is that kind of how it worked, Diann?
Yeah, they carry everything with them because they know being outside, you can't leave it where people can see where you hide it at because they'll come back and take it. I remember the time I getting ready to lay down, it was so cold. It was so cold. I called myself, figured it was safe hiding it where I lay at, but when I came back, everything was gone. And that very night, I never will forget, I had to lay on that bridge with nothing but what I had on. It was nothing but the Lord that saved me the next morning. I would have been frozen to death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult trying to tow everything you need around with you because people will take it.
Mm-hmm. And for the
How
listener,
many people steal from homeless people? They will take it.
Yeah. And for those listeners, keep in mind now, we're talking about a young 22, 23-year-old female. Now, I know typically when we see homeless people, we see older people on the street and that type of thing. And we make these.
You see more younger people than you see older people in this day and time.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. And so people make these assumptions about homeless people. Here's this person who didn't do what they were supposed to do in life. And so now that's what ends up with them. They're out there in the street homeless now. They're 50, 60, 70 years old. And so now they're homeless. But here you're an example of someone who was younger. And you just made a point that today that there are a lot more homeless young people. And that's one of the things we'll talk about a little later on too. But you're absolutely right, Diann. There are a lot more younger homeless people. You don't see them that way though, because they move differently. They don't necessarily have a shopping cart with them with their worldly goods in. They try to merge in a little bit better so that people don't know that they're homeless. But there's a lot of young homeless people out there, and people just don't think about it.
Well, when you see people with carts and stuff, those are people who really have been out there a long, long time, and they know the ropes.
Uh-huh.
And they can deal with a lot better than people who just got started being homeless.
I see. Well, let me ask you this, Diann. Any suggestions for those who may be homeless?
Yes, I would say this. If you're homeless, get your act together. Pray on it. And don't go in the same circle. Change up. Do something different. Do something about your life because it's no life being out there. I'm a witness. I can tell you, especially if you're a lady. I don't care what age you are. It's just too dangerous and too cold. It's just too much problem. It's more problem being homeless than being anything else.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things can happen to you out there. A lot of things. Things that you really don't like. But nothing you can do about it. Because you're out there. And you put yourself out there. And you can't blame nobody but yourself. Because you know right from wrong. You know what's good and what's bad. You know what's best for you and what not. So, you can't blame nobody if you're homeless. All I can say, get it together.
So let me ask you this, Diann. What do you think caused you to get it together? What happened? What prompted you, or what made you decide that you didn't want to be homeless anymore?
They got a center where people go to where you can get your mail, and it's something like it's an urban ministry center. They had social work. What for those social workers? I think I would still be on the street. This lady took me took me and gave me an appointment. She saw how serious I was wanting to get on the street, and she stuck in there with me. We stuck together, and she got me a place where I could lay my head, I could take a shower, I don't have to look over my shoulder, I can eat anytime I want to. I'm out of the cold and hot weather. I mean, it wasn't for her, I don't know what to do. So if you ever come upon anybody, give them a chance. See what they can do for you. Don't give up.
Okay.
See, that's how I made it. I remember this motto: only the strong will survive. And I'm one of the strong ones, and I survived it. It wasn't easy and it wasn't good, but I survived it.
Yes. Yes. So, sound like what you're saying, that you would recommend that folks look for a lot of the resources that are out there in the community, and there are,
Yes,
yeah, there are some
there's a
resources
lot
out
of
there.
them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it to friends. That's how you get to know who you can talk to for help. It pays to talk to people.
Right. Right.
That's how you learn things. And like I say, if you don't have to be homeless, don't. Cause I don't see really no goodness out of it. I really don't. You
So,
gotta look over your shoulder.
okay, and so that leads to another question. So, what would you suggest? You said that you really don't see a really good reason for people to become homeless. What would you what would you suggest? What would you suggest to those folks who may be close to being homeless? What would you suggest for them?
If you find yourself being homeless or close to being homeless, step on brakes, pull on brakes, and catch yourself and say, hey, this is not me. It's not going to happen. That's what you got to say to yourself. This is not me, and not going to happen.
And look towards some of those resources that are out there. And there are plenty of resources
And
out
look
there.
for, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody say it's a good thing to be homeless. I'm sorry to say something is wrong with them. So they're not good of being homeless. I'm a witness. I have been there and I have done that. There's nothing good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, Diann. You actually saying that people actually are saying that it's a good thing to be homeless?
There are people out there who don't mind being homeless, who rather live in tents, who rather live in woods and stuff. That's a cop out for not wanting to face responsibility. That's all I see. They don't want no responsibility. They don't want nobody to tell them what to do or when to do it. They just want to be free. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being free, but look what the thing you got to go through being free and that's what you call homeless. But not all of them, but some of them.
Let me piggyback on with a question with that. Would that mindset be the same if there's an individual that really believes that they would prefer to not be controlled, not be up under any sort of structure that's any sort of system that where they can have to go to work and be what we would deem responsible. If they're okay with the consequences of it, do you still think it's a bunch of malarkey, a bunch of BS? If they said that?
Well, each of their own. I look at it like that. Each of their own. I mean, yeah.
Okay. And rightly so. I understand that. Yeah, to each their own. Now the people that are the people that are homeless, and just from your experience, that basically that may say they would prefer to be homeless. do you see that more so coming from men or the women, or is there an even mixture? Or do you think there's even mixture there of people saying that they would prefer to be homeless?
I would say both.
Really? That's interesting. Okay. I learned something.
Like I said,
I learned something right there, Pop.
Okay.
I learned something right there.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, Diann, in your experience, did you run across more women or more men that were homeless, or was it about even?
there are more men homeless than there are. No. Yeah, there are more men homeless than there are women.
Okay. Okay.
Because I think if they know it's more dangerous, a woman take a better chance of getting raped, jumped on, and robbed. A man just one thing. It's more things to a woman than it is to a man
Right. Right.
out there.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I asked the question that I asked. I can see to a degree why a woman would say it's BS to be homeless, but also can understand why a man would say it would be better to be homeless. He's okay with the insecurity of being out there, the not wanting to follow too many rules of society. Let me just go do my own thing.
Right. Right.
I guess being their own boss is what make a difference mainly of being homeless.
Mm-hmm.
That you're your own boss.
Well,
I think you see a lot of that mentality with the people that want to live off the grid too. They don't want to fall into societal norms, and you can't blame them as long as they're willing to deal with the consequences of their decision.
right. Right. So, Diann, any suggestions for family or friends of those who may be homeless or on the verge of homeless? Any suggestion that maybe family or friends might be able to, how they might be able to help that individual? What would you recommend?
I like to say this. People always looking down on homeless, but they don't know they could be there just as well as the person who are there. So never take nothing serious. That you can't be that person who you looking at. But you can. Ain't nothing promised to you, ain't nothing. So I say it's give a person a chance so they show you different. They look down on homeless. That's why you should never let a person know you homeless. I mean, unless they done saw it for themselves. But because if they see you, because they're going to look at you a different way. If they know you're not homeless, and then they find out that you are, they're going to look at you a certain way. And you're going to wish you hadn't told them, or they found out.
Right.
Okay. This is along the same lines of the story we're talking about. And this is when I became when I was a stockbroker in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
The office that I worked in was over off of Camelback in 20th Street, which is obviously it's a quote unquote a high rent district. So one day I took a break, walked outside. I was standing in front of the office, and I remember a lady coming through, and I looked at her in the face, and she was homeless, but I looked at her in the face, and I remember it's like I had seen her face before. I couldn't remember where, and I still don't know where I'd seen her face before. But what I remember thinking was, I'm like, have I seen this lady's face on the screen somewhere, on the TV or movie screen? And I'm like, and I begin to think, like, what if who I'm looking at has a fall from grace story? And it put everything into perspective. Like one day you could be right, you could be high as a kite, and the next day based off of maybe no fault of your own. You could be in a totally different situation with life.
Right.
You know, I remember I looked at this woman like she just to looking at when I saw her like, man, I've seen her face before, and the only thing I can think of was I've seen it on the TV screen or on a movie somewhere, and here she is pushing a shopping cart on 20th Street in Camelback through the parking lot.
Right. Right.
So it definitely, Diann, to piggyback on what you just said, it definitely reiterated the don't look down or pass judgment. Not that I ever did it, but you know, it just put it in perspective for me. And I think I was 29, maybe, like 29, 30 years old when I saw her.
Mm-hmm. So Diann, let me ask you this: do you remember any experiences, kind of relating to what Jackie's talking about? Do you remember any personal experiences where someone may have looked at you a certain way or spoke to you in a certain way because you were homeless?
Yes, I have that quite a lot, and I straighten them too. I try not to, but sometimes it just get next to me, you know.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's why I don't let people know that I'm homeless, was homeless, because like I said, they look at you a certain way, and they think you can't change when you say you're homeless or you are homeless.
Right. Right.
And just like where I'm saying that, I face this every day, even with the social workers and the people that work here. They calmly tell looking down on us, but they know better. I tell them right quick, they know better than I am.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I know it pays to hold your pain, but sometimes there's so much you can take off of anyone when it comes down to them looking at you and says you in a place where there's homeless people who stay up in this building.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And you're pointing out a really, really good point, Diann. You know, sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, when many of us, when we see people in certain situations that a lot of times people think are beneath us, you know, they think it's beneath us.
Exactly.
And we forget that we're all human beings, you know, we're all
exactly.
God. Yeah. We're all God's creatures. And we all deserve the same respect as God's creature, no matter what state we find ourselves in life. But there's so many people that don't realize that they don't understand that. Well, a question for you, Diann. What would you suggest to help solve the homeless problem? What would your suggestion be? What do you think we as a society can do to help solve the homeless problem?
One thing people need to take time out or get a group and go to these homeless places and just to see what it's like and how they talk and everything. And then you realize they just like you, how they know different. They just had a bad break. That's all.
Uh-huh.
There's people from outside, they come to our building. And a bunch of them, churches, especially churches, and they bring the children with them. They go to their church, and they all sit around. They bring bingo. A lot of outside people come, and we sit, and they look at us. They look at us funny, but how they get to talk to us, they look at us a certain different way. And I always tell them, thank you for coming, and hope you come back.
Mm-hmm. So
they just need to get to know us. That's all. Some of us is afraid of us, but not to be afraid of.
Well, Diann, you're, and again, remember, I told you, you don't have to share anything you don't want to share, but you're talking about us now. What do you mean, if you want to share that or not? Because you're talking about your building and stuff. What is there anything you might want to?
I was just saying where I stay at. This is how you get to know people.
Uh-huh.
They leave the place open for whoever want to come and visit us.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like they have bingo. Sometimes they bring us something to eat, and we all sit down and get to know each other.
I got you. And so that's the same thing, with people who are homeless. If we just, take a minute to stop and talk to people and treat them like who they are, human. Instead of acting like you don't see them or looking at them.
Act like they're contagious.
Yes.
But like I say, I had one lady. I was walking downtown, and she just stopped and sat beside me, and also we got to talking, and she said that you look like you by yourself or lost. No, I said I'm waiting on a bus, and then she said that well, it was nice talking to you. It was a white lady. But she was scared, I guess, because I was homeless and black,
Right.
But it don't matter what color you are being homeless. You a human being, like you just said. Everybody can have a bad luck, bad time.
Right.
Some can make it out of the situation, some can't. I just thank God that I made it and don't want to never go back, never look back.
Right.
But every time I look at the bridge that I slept on, I do cry, I do shed tears every time I go uptown. We pass this bridge every time I catch the bus. I think about that's where I used to sleep at. And it brings tears in my eyes. But that's just something I got to overcome.
Right. Okay. Diann, is there anything else that you might want to share that we didn't cover about your personal experience?
Yes, I want to say this. Whether you're homeless or not homeless, have love toward each other. Don't judge them. If anything, try to talk to them. Try to understand them. Try to get to know them. That's all.
I
Okay.
think that's a good that's a good ending to that right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I don't necessarily believe it may change too much, but I think individually, that change starts with us. So I think we have to look at ourselves and say, if I got any biases, which we're human, may not mean anything by it, but we all have times have biases. So I think we all have to go to the drawing board and check yourself.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Okay.
I don't think we can change society overall. Initially, I think individually, we have to go. We have to go to the mirror and look at the reflection. Look at what's looking back.
Right.
Check yourself right there.
Right.
Go ahead, Pop. My bad. Cut you off.
Right. So Jackie, any last thing you want to ask Diann or comment? Now Diann, now Diann, I want you to know, I want you to stay on the line after we get done talking to you, right? And if you got anything to say, you can say it, but we're not done with the podcast yet, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Jackie.
Let's say, I'm walking down the street and I see a homeless person. And I've not been on your side. What would be a way to approach that individual? And I'm not talking about from a negative standpoint whatsoever. Just to engage them. And I have my personality where I approach people. But from your side of it, what would be a comforting way to be or that you would have liked to have been approached, and what would you have wanted someone to do in that moment for you?
Jack, are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, will you repeat that one more time?
I said, so let's the scenario. Let's say I'm walking down the street and I see a homeless person, and say that person is you. What would be a comforting way for me to approach you, and what are some of the things that I could do for you to help you out if you were still out there?
One day, you would let that person know that you don't look down on them, you don't look at him or her a certain way, and let them know that you got love for them. That's the main thing. So they look for that. Homeless people look for that so much because they've been looking down at so much till they look for you to come at them with love. Something nice. Some will lift their spirit. Some will make their day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That means so much to them.
So basically, what I'm hearing is you treat them, be human.
Exactly. Be human.
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, show some humanity.
Exactly.
I'm big on that. I'm big on that one too. I understand.
Okay, Diann, Jackie. So what I'm gonna do now is we'll talk about some more specific, factual type of things concerning homelessness. But like I said, Diann, don't hang up yet. Stay with us, and if you want to interject, if you anything you want to make, any comments you want to make as we're going along, please feel free to jump in. So, what is the definition of homelessness? And as my daughter says, unhoused. So homelessness or unhoused, whatever you prefer to call it. Basically, homelessness it's defined as lacking a fixed, regular, safe, and adequate nighttime residence. It includes people living in places not meant for human habitation. For example, living on the street, living in emergency shelters, living in motels, cars, tents, parks, transit stations, abandoned buildings, like Diann said, under bridges, those types of things. Believe it or not, couch surfing. So for a lot of these younger people who don't have their own apartment, house, or whatever, that's going from friend to friend, relative to relative, couch surfing, that's a form of homelessness for you folk who may not realize it. Staying with family or friends on an emergency temporary basis. Again, that could be a form of homelessness. To sum it up, it's really just basically a lack of stable or appropriate permanent shelter. So that's the definition of what homelessness is. What are some major reasons for homelessness? The main one is some sort of economic hardship. That's mainly, it's a financial thing. A lot of times, many families and individuals are unable to afford rent or mortgage due to low wages, job loss, lack of savings, or other financial setbacks. And Diann, this leads me to another question. In your experience, did you run across many homeless people who were like homeless families?
Yes, I did, especially in the shelter.
Okay.
Especially on the street.
Okay. All right. So we need to keep that in mind, that there are families who end up homeless, and again, some of the reasons, loss of and mainly it's an economic thing, right? That's the main thing. Now, sometimes it could be a health issue, which may cause a person to lose their job, which again comes back to that finance thing again. Another reason for homelessness is a lack of affordable housing. And this is the situation is getting worse. Housing, it's getting more expensive as we know. A shortage of affordable housing, for low-income families, and there's a lot of low-income families out there. raising rental costs that outpace wage growth. The rent's going up, but my wages ain't going up.
That's right.
Yep. Mental illness. And a lot of times we don't see that for what it is, because sometimes folks, they're on this spectrum to where, they don't appear to have mental issues, but it's just enough where they go over that line to where they would be diagnosed as having some form of mental illness, but it's not readily seen. You know what I mean? So there are those cases. Substance abuse, domestic violence, those things often contributes to, or in many cases worsen homeless situations, worsens an already bad situation. These issues and conditions can make it difficult to maintain employment, and that's, again, it comes right back to that financial situation, economic situation. Jackie, I love my little trivia questions, so I got a few little trivia questions here. Here's the first one. Now.
All right now.
So, all right. So now listen at this question real careful, because it's tricky. You know me, I'm tricky, right? So listen at this question real carefully. Which race, and I'm emphasizing, right? Which race has the majority of homeless people? Hispanic, white, or black?
White.
White. You got it right. Okay.
I know.
Okay. All right. Which race has the least percentage of their race homeless? Black, Hispanic, or white? What was that?
Black.
No.
Black.
No, it's white. Remember, I told you I was going to trick you.
Oh,
percentage. It said percentage. Yeah, percentage. Yeah, percentage. Yeah.
And you know what? And I was thinking about percentages when I answered the question.
Okay, but I got you. Yeah. So even though there are more white folk on the street, as far as a whole race goes, as far as a total homeless population, as far as pure numbers, it's white. But as far as percentage-wise, percentage of that race, it's blacks, Hispanics. Those folks there are more of those people as far as percentage goes on the street. Another trivia question here: which states has the highest number of homeless? So I'm gonna give you one of two answers here: southern and western states, or eastern and northern states. Which states do you think has the highest number of homeless people? Southern and western, or eastern and northern?
I would say southern and western.
Why would you say that, Jackie? We talked about it earlier.
The West has a lot. I think the West, because of the weather.
Yes.
And more
southern.
Homeless. I think it has more homeless people.
Yeah, and southern too. Southern and western states. Yeah,
and the South.
Yeah.
For the same reason.
Yeah.
Because of the weather.
Yeah. Those eastern places and northern, that weather can.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Cold.
That heat. It's you and I both know here in Arizona, that heat. It can take a toll on you, especially when it get to be 115. But I've lived in Pittsburgh where it's been, minus. And if I have my choice, which I do, that's why I'm in Arizona. I'd rather be in that 115
I'll take
degree.
The heat.
Yeah. So
I'll take that heat.
Yeah. So we just got to remember, homeless people aren't stupid. Okay, homeless people.
I always say I can take it off. I can't add more to it if I don't have it.
There you go. One last trivia question here. The vast majority of homeless people live in 7 states. Approximately 64% of people experiencing homelessness live in 7 states. And we've already said where those states are primarily going to be at, right? Southern and western. So California, Illinois, Texas, Massachusetts, I'll tell you that Illinois and Massachusetts, I have no damn idea what they doing on the list, but they on the list.
I don't either.
Yeah, Texas, Illinois, Massachusetts, Florida, Washington State, and New York's on the list too. Of course, there's a ton of people in New York, a lot of people in those states. So I guess that's why. But those are the main 60, almost 75% of the folks live in those homeless people live in those states. All right, so one last area I'm gonna touch on here, and that is, and Jackie, you know I got to throw this in, brother. I got to throw a little. I got to throw a little. Yeah, I got to throw a little.
Of course you do. I'm reading it right now.
I got to throw a little political stuff. So I had asked.
We got to put Trump in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Got to put Trump in there somewhere.
Yeah, I had asked Diann a little earlier what she thought that we could do as a society, to try to help with this homeless problem, and our President Donald J. Trump and his administration, they are taking positive steps to address this homeless population. So what are they doing? One of the first things they did through their Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, one of the first things they did was they relocated approximately $4 billion in federal homeless funds. They reallocated them. You know what that word reallocating mean, don't you, brother? What that mean?
They took some money from one place and snatched it up. That was earmarked to go one place, snatch it up, and send it to another place.
Yeah. They took it from HUD. They took it for housing, and we've said that's one of the main issues that homeless people have is unaffordable housing. So one of their main solutions was, let's take some of that money from HUD and we'll put it to better use. We'll put it someplace else, right? They I'm going to sit over here and be quiet on that. I'm going to shut up for a minute. Another thing they did was the administration, and this is from their site, right? This is from their sources. The administration is directing agencies to prioritize federal grants for jurisdictions that enforce laws against urban camping, loitering, squatting, and open-air drug use. I wonder if any of that stuff affects the homeless, right? This approach encourages law enforcement to clear encampments as primary measure to address public disorder. Again, I wonder if that affects homeless people. All right. Another thing this administration did, they signed an executive order that pushes for the expansion of involuntary civil commitment for individuals deemed a risk to themselves or others due to serious illness or substance use disorder. In other words, confine them somewhere involuntarily. This is America, right? Confine them involuntarily. The Department of Justice is tasked with seeking a reversal of judicial precedents that limit this practice. In other words, this practice that was against that type of thing, the Donald Trump administration, Department of Justice, is trying to reverse that. They're trying to make it easier to be able to involuntarily commit some folks. Another thing they're doing here, unlike the voluntary services in the Housing First model, and basically this Housing First model thing, it provides immediate permanent housing without prerequisites like sobriety, and followed by supportive services. The new policy requires recipients of homelessness, in order for them to get assistance, they have to actively participate in treatment for substance abuse, use disorders, or mental illness as a condition for receiving aid. The administration says this is to help promote self-sufficiency and address the root causes of homelessness. So in other words, if you're addicted to drugs or if you're addicted to alcohol, we're not going to help you until you become unaddicted. Makes perfect sense to me. Once you become unaddicted, then we'll help you. Makes a lot of sense.
Hold on.
All right, go ahead.
Hold on, Pop.
Go ahead.
You said they're not going to help until you no longer are addicted, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, one of my issues with that,
I know you got an issue, brother.
some of these programs, with too many times and through history, we have a history of this week. This is not just me talking. We have a history of people receiving certain benefits with no incentive on the other side of it. I.e., when you start looking at SNAP, we have generations
now, brother Jackie. Now, brother Jackie, come on now. We can have another discussion about SNAP that I would agree with you on. But we're not talking about SNAP. Wait, let me finish though. Let me finish. I was a substance abuse counselor for 8 years. So I'm fully aware of what happens when you're addicted to drugs or alcohol. It ain't a matter of turning the switch off and on.
Correct. I understand that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I fully understand that. But when you want me to go a mile to meet you. Okay, I at least need you to travel a quarter mile to meet me. You got to show me that you want to do something different.
On the surface, that sounds good. On the surface, what you're saying sounds good. But when you're addicted to drugs or alcohol, if you're truly addicted, brother Jackie, there's people making billions, if not trillions of dollars off of people who are addicted to substances. The reason they're making all that money, is it's not that easy for someone to become unaddicted.
Correct. I understand that. I'm not saying that.
And if you're telling me, well, I'm not going to help you. Think about that, what they're saying. I'm not going to help you until you're no longer addicted or exhibiting the symptoms of your addiction. I'm not going to help you until then. Let me tell you something. When I was in the Air Force, this was one of the silliest things I ever heard of, but I was part of the system. I was a substance abuse counselor, right? I'm supposed to be trying to help addicted military members and their families through their addiction, right? Well,
wait a minute. Did you work social action?
Yeah.
Did you work social action?
Yeah, I was drug alcohol non-commissioned officer. That's right. I sure did. And so one of the most silliest things. Well, I understood it afterwards, right? They trained me to be a substance abuse counselor, but in essence, really what I was like a snitch for the commanders. That's really what I was.
Correct.
Correct. Really what I was supposed to be doing. They didn't tell me that, but really what I was supposed to be doing was identifying substance abusers, letting the commander know.
Kicking them out.
That's right.
And kicking them out.
That's right.
And kicking them out.
That's right. So I had
That's why we thought we'd tell people, bro, you want to get kicked out, go around there and start talking to social actions if you want to.
You see
go
what
on
I'm
your
saying?
way out that front gate.
But my point is, this is my point. This was the silliest thing. I went through Johnson Institute in Minnesota, one of the most renowned, at one time anyway, one of the most renowned training facility for substance abuse counselors. And, they mainly train civilians, right? So civilians weren't caught up in this craziness. So now here I am being taught that I need to talk to this person about their addiction. And in other words, I used to have these group counseling sessions once a week. So we'd have a group of 10 or 12 folks, right? So we needed to talk about, and we used to do individual counseling too, but we needed to talk about whether or not they were still abusing substances, right? Now, if it was in the case of alcohol, we could talk about that unless they were diagnosed alcoholic. If they were diagnosed alcoholic, part of their regimen said, you can't drink. And if you did drink, guess what happens to you? You get kicked out.
You get kicked out?
That's right. You get kicked out. So what fool in their right mind that don't want to get kicked out is going to tell me they still drinking, or even drugs. it's not a matter of whether you were diagnosed addicted or not to drugs. If you were to continue using drugs, you get kicked out. So what fool is going to tell me, yeah, man, I got high over the weekend, blah, 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 because they're going to get kicked out. So it's a silly thing. So that's what this sounds like right here is if you're telling me that you're still using, we're not going to help you. It's silly.
Right. See, when I say my problem with this, my problem that I don't have with some of that is it has to be an incentive-based program. And I'm not saying that you only help people that come to you and say they can prove that they're no longer using this sort of thing. But you got to start showing some effort that you want to do better or you want to have a better life. If you don't want to have a better life, it's futile for me to help you too much.
Yeah, but
I can take the resources can be taken and used for someone else, i.e., like a Diann that's on this phone right now.
Yeah.
Let's put our resources toward her because she continuously shows that she wants to do better and no longer wants this condition to be her life. So that's one thing. But there's a demographic out there that still wants to, in a sense, drink, get high, drunk, stay homeless, whatever the case may be. No matter what you do, they're going to always revert back to who they are or where they want to be. So I get that. I'm not pushing back against you, and this is rare. I'm not pushing back against you.
Yes, you are. You are pushing back against me, and that's okay. That's why we on here together. We want both sides. But go ahead.
My point is this: everyone is not equal. Everyone doesn't deserve the same amount of help.
And who determines that?
Everyone does not deserve the same amount of help.
Yeah, but who determines that?
Show and prove that they want to do. Say what now?
I said, who determines who deserves help?
The one who has control of the help.
Oh, that sounds fair.
No, but guess what? Guess what? We're not talking about it being fair. This is unfortunate. Life is unfair though, and we know life is unfair. So why is fairness something that we have to look at? Fairness, if life was fair, we would not be on a podcast together. We would not have a divide between Democrats and Republicans. We would not have a divide between rich and the poor if life was fair. Life is not fair. We know that.
Well, there's certain things in life that ain't fair that we can't control. But those things that we can control to make them fair, I think we should do that. And in this instance here, for me anyway, it's not fair or reasonable to expect that an addict is going to stop being an addict just because you say, hey, if you don't stop being an addict, you don't get this carrot. They put this carrot in front of you, which is services, right? Services. You don't get these services unless you become unaddicted. That's not reasonable. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. That's unreasonable. That's totally unreasonable. If it was that easy, man, I'd be a successful substance abuse counselor. That's why I stopped being a substance abuse counselor. I'm gonna be honest with you. Is because I realized that it's not easy to help people to get to change that type of behavior. It's hard as hell. And in most cases, it's been I'm not gonna say that. But let me just put it to you this way. Someone that's truly addicted, it's not a matter of turning a switch on and off. And people don't understand that. See, people think that that's one of those things. People think that that's like maybe eating too much. Well, eating too much, that's an issue too. But it might be like a situation of where maybe you play too much basketball. I don't know. You play too much basketball. And someone tells you, hey, man, you playing too much basketball. You need to cut back a few days. And then you go, yeah, that makes sense. And you can cut back. This is not like that. This is almost like eating. You know, if somebody tell you, Jackie, you can't eat for a week. Someone tell you can't eat for a week. That's what this is. It might even be worse than eating, but go ahead.
However, it's still the way it sounds. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you're advocating for taking personal responsibility and accountability off the table for the people that are on drugs. No. There's things they have to do. They do have to make an effort. They have to make their meetings. They have to do this. They have to do that. No. They have to make an effort.
No. They have to
Okay.
make an effort.
That's my point.
Oh yeah,
There has to be incentive. The program, this is where I'm going with it. I'm going to go back to this. The program has to be incentive based.
Right.
You want me to come a mile to meet you as a
Right.
homeless person, as a substance abuse, substance addicted person. Fine, I'll meet you. I'll come that mile. I need you to walk at least a quarter of a mile to meet me.
I agree with you.
You got to show me. That's where I was going with that. I
Okay.
don't know if you missed that when I said it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
willing to go that mile.
Yeah,
to
I
meet
missed
you.
it. I
But
agree
you
with
gotta
you.
walk to me.
I agree with
You got to come. You got to meet me at least a quarter of a mile to show me that there's some desire behind what you said you want.
Right. And I think Diann, you still there, Diann?
Yes, I'm still
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I think Diann touched on that earlier when she mentioned there was a woman who helped her that was in some counseling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I said someone like Diann has shown herself that she's willing, that she wants to help. She does not want to continue to live the way she's living.
Right.
And guess what? Going back to that old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
So when she showed that she was ready to come off the streets, she was ready to that lifestyle, I got to change.
Right.
And Diann, from listening to her, Diann didn't care what she had to go through to get off the damn street.
Right.
She was willing to go through. She was willing to do it to get off the street, long as it's honest, legal, and ethical. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. That has to be part of it too.
Right.
You can't go rob a bank and say, "Cause I don't want to be homeless, so I'm gonna go steal other people's money."
Right.
No, that's not how that works.
Right. I agree.
So
Right.
it has to be incentive based. Like, okay, Diann, we're gonna come get you at 12 o'clock on Monday. I need you to where you want me to pick you up on 3rd Street and Broadway. I will be there at 11:55 on Monday. Now, Diann, that means you got to be there at 12 o'clock. That's all that I'm saying. I am not advocating to take benefits away from people that need them.
I agree.
Not at all.
Okay. We're on the same track.
Yeah.
We're on the same track.
Yeah, that's why I say we're on the same page. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, or it's coming
no,
off
it's
one way.
me.
That's not the case.
It's me. Sometimes I'm a little slow. I'm old. Sometimes I'm a little slow. But one last bullet.
Me
One
too,
last
I'm
point.
slow, too. I'm a C student.
One last point on how the president and his administration helping us. This one last thing here. So to top it off, that there's this U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, right? It previously coordinated federal homeless policy and advocated for housing first, right? Well, basically what the administration did is it pretty much dismantled that agency. So again, big help to homelessness, right? So, all right, I think we've kind of beat this thing to death. What I'm going to do, we're going to bring it to a close. We're going to go ahead and give Diann an opportunity to make any last comments that she might want to make, and then you, Jackie, and then we'll close this thing out. All right, Sister Diann, what you got, girl?
I would like to say this, that I wish all those who are homeless to just let people know that you human just like they are. Show your love and they'll show it right back.
Okay, all right. Beautiful words. What about you, Jackie?
Hey, my thing is that if you're homeless listening to this, go seek out, go seek help. Like you, sometimes we have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired to make a change.
That's right.
So if you're tired of where you are, if you're tired of your circumstance in life, and sometimes this goes for people that's working every day.
Yes.
The only one that can begin that change is you. If once you're ready to change your life, I believe that the universe lines up and begin to put things and people in place to help you out. But if you're not, you can't. There can't be the expectation. So you got to want to change, and that goes to every one of us. We don't like where we are. The ability starts with us, and then other people will come in. It's not the other way around. You know, that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. That is absolutely true.
Yeah. And
if
brother,
you're not thirsty, you're not going to drink that water.
yeah, and brother Jackie, you hitting on a point that I think you consistently hit on, and sometimes it seems like I kind of resist it, and maybe I do, but I agree with you. I think that we as individuals, no matter what our situation is, for the most part, we are in control of it. And if we don't take steps to do what we want to do, what we need to do, then it'll take control of us. So I agree with you on that one. And so on that note, we'll go ahead and end this thing. Thank you, Diann, for helping us out and participating and sharing with us.
You're welcome.
And Brother Jackie, thank you as usual. And listeners, thank you for listening in. Again, hopefully you can drop us a line. We've got an email. It's a DNA Hardwired podcast @gmail.com. Again, that's DNA Hardwired podcast @gmail.com. Or go to Facebook. I know everybody on Facebook. Drop us a message on Facebook, and it's DNA Hardwired, a podcast on common sense. Again, thank you, folks. We're out of here. This is Jackie, Diann, dropping the mic.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Think it through, people.